One of the most important things you can do for your soil, in most cases, is to try to build soil organic matter. Ideally, in a lot of soils, what we're looking for, we'd like to see 5% organic matter, maybe even 6 or 7% organic matter. We want as much organic matter as we can get, as long as we're below 10% organic matter. For a number of different reasons, it's tremendously beneficial for your soil and for your crop.
One of our biggest goals that we've got is to increase the organic matter levels in our soil. When we think about organic matter in the soil, it holds a lot of nutrients. It's also the home for all the microbiology in the soil, which is just critical when you think those little guys are working 24/7 for me and I don't have to pay them anything. But the big thing for me, we're dryland farmers and we don't get a huge amount of moisture many years on our farm, is moisture holding. Every 1% of organic matter that I can increase on my farm is 4% more water I can hold. And when we take soils that are really run down, that may be 1% organic matter or maybe 2%, and we can build them up to 4 or 5%, all of a sudden adding 2 to 4% more organic matter in that soil, we're able to increase our water holding capacity 8 to 16%. That's huge on the farm. And when you think about if you could have 10% more water, 15% more water, wow, all of a sudden higher yields are that much easier to attain.
Two big things I look at in addition to what Darren mentioned. One is the sponginess of the soil. So when I'm jumping up and down on my soil,
you're creating compaction, Brian.
Is it hard as a rock or is it a little bit spongy? I don't want to create compaction. I want to minimize compaction. If I have higher organic matter levels, typically I'm doing that. The other big thing I look at is nutrients. Organic matter mineralizes every year. In other words, it releases some of its nutrients for your crop for free. Roughly what we're talking about here is for every 1% of organic matter, you're going to have 20 to 30 pounds of nitrogen come available, 4 to 7 pounds of phosphorus, and 2 to 3 pounds of sulfur every year for free. That's awesome. So when you talk about, hey, I want to try to leave something for my kids and my grandkids, well, there's nothing better you can leave them than a great farm that's got good soil organic matter levels, and obviously you're doing a number of other good things out in that field. Building the soil organic matter is very important.
All right, so we may have generated a little bit of interest with you about, wow, I like organic matter. How do I get more in my soil? And there's a number of things that you can do, starting with tillage. When you're doing lots of tillage on your farm, it's very difficult to build organic matter levels up.
Most of your soil's organic matter, the decomposed stuff, that's built from your roots breaking down. It is not built from that above ground stuff. The above ground stuff is basically to protect your topsoil. And yes, there are earthworms and things that can bring that down into the ground and build up your soil organic matter. But if you think that you're going to take organic material on top, till it in, and then that's going to become organic matter, good luck, not going to happen.
All right, the tillage is certainly a big piece, but I realize, wow, I don't know if I can switch the whole tillage system over on my farm in a real hurry. Okay, let's look at some of the other things you can do. You can add manure or compost.
Wait, stop. We're on that list. Tillage is by far and away number one, going no-till. Number two, by far and away, number two is plant crops with lots of roots. Corn on average has 5 times the root mass of soybeans. So that's huge. We want to get lots of roots out there. Then we step it down to manure. And I agree with you 100%, Darren, manure is important, but I call it number 3 on the list.
Manure and compost are critically important. Another thing you can do is use cover crops in your system and look for cover crops that have huge root systems that can really help to develop what's going on beneath the surface, and then do everything to feed those crops right. We see so many guys throwing a cover crop out, not adding any fertility in a situation where, hey, I just raised all this tremendous yield, there's no fertilizer left in my soil, now I put a cover crop out and wonder, man, that cover crop didn't really thrive. Well, feed it just a little bit. The fifth one, there are some biologicals out there now that have been proven to increase root growth and uptake of nutrients in your soil. If you can do that, you're going to build organic matter faster as well when you have a more well-developed root system. The other thing is, when you're getting all those other nutrients that are out there into your plants and into that system, you have more nutrient availability, and long-term that's going to be a good thing. On our farm, we use products like Quick Roots, that's a biological fungi and bacteria that both help crop production, but there are a number of other biologicals out there as well to improve root growth.
Well, once again, we are big believers in building organic matter up to a point on your farm. If you've got lower organic matter levels, you absolutely want to reduce your tillage, plant crops with lots of roots, use manure, cover crops, and biologicals. That can help, but it's not going to happen instantaneously. However, it can absolutely happen for you. You can build your organic matter levels 1 or 2%, maybe even 3% in the next 20 years.
Well, getting your soils right and getting the right amount of organic matter out there is very beneficial to crops, but you still have to do a great job controlling weeds if you want to have high yields. We'll show you how to stop this tough weed coming up later in the show.